Oh, this is Stephen School Alchemy YouTube channel. I believe this is my first live stream feed. I'm new at this, just trying to figure it out and stuff. And you seem to have got it working. Let me share this to Facebook. Alchemy Gems experiment. All right, Alchemy Gems experiment live on YouTube with Stephen School Alchemy. Share that. Okay. All right. I'm Stephen School Alchemy YouTube channel. Looks kind of dark in here, doesn't it? Maybe I should turn on some more lights. So what I've got an electric hot plate here, and I've got a round boiling flask with a flat bottom. I've added water. I want to experiment with the creation of alchemical gemstones. I think I've got something here maybe. First of all, vitriol. In alchemy, they say vitriol. Visit the interior of the earth and find the occult lapis. Basically, alchemy is said to revolve around vitriol. I'm thinking it's nature's paintbrush. That the colors of nature come from the metals. Okay, so this vitriol, and by the way, when I research vitriol on the internet, I come up with sulfides or sulfates, metals, and sulfuric acid. But in my experience, I found something completely different. In my opinion, I think it's quite different because I used nitric acid. So these are nitrates, and I think that's been kind of hidden on the internet, that it's been like oppressed or something, or suppressed. That maybe we've been steered in the wrong direction. That's just an opinion, maybe yes, maybe no. But I used copper metal and nitric acid, and it's very, very pretty in color. When I found this result in my experiment, it caused me to research online, and I came up with something called the water of crystallization. Okay, we got a comment here from Kim North. Hello, I'm going to reply. Hello. This is my first live stream. I'm new at this. Okay, so in researching my alchemy gemstones, I come up with a lot of stuff, and it's led me to silica, which we're going to hang on one second. Let me get a paper here. Find the paper. Matter of fact, I might as well just bring more paper, huh? I guess I want to take notes and write stuff down. Right, so no, I haven't tried cinnabar yet. Cinnabar is interesting. It's also toxic. I haven't tried cinnabar yet, but it's interesting. And one of these days, if I can ever grow my YouTube channel big enough, and then I'd like to start on that. Okay, so I got a couple tinctures here. This tincture is from iron pyrite. I'm interested in this. I like it. I added a little bit to water to dilute it so we can get a better look at it, and it's the color of it's like the color of gold, but this is highly diluted. I could add more and concentrate it more. This is concentrated, you see, and this is like the color of gold. Let me get a flashlight if I got one handy so we can see these colors. All right. So as far as which path, I see a question there. Which path do you use? Alchemy is a broad spectrum. There's three basic kingdoms: animal kingdom, mineral kingdom, um, plant kingdom. So there's three basic areas, but within that, there's myriad stones, tinctures. All right. So try to get the color of this to show up good. This is my tincture from iron pyrite, and the color is like concentrated gold, and it's also got a white salt type material collecting in the bottom. This is I made this from copper and nitric acid, so I'm calling it vitriol. When I research vitriol online, I come up with sulfuric acid in metal, but I use nitric acid, and I think my opinion is that scientists go with sulfuric acid and alchemists go with nitric acid. That's just my opinion. So what I've got here is silica. I'm going to dump it out. It looks pretty pure. I see a few things in here that look like it got little specks of something in it, but silica. So I researched this briefly online, and I come up with things like this may be the basis of quartz, some gemstones may be quartz based or silica based, and glass, making glass from it. And so that basically this comes from sand. My research online indicates that this could be extracted from sand, or basically by taking sand and working with it, we can get silica. Okay, so the focus of this is experiment with alchemical gemstones. Now, I'm going to turn on this hot plate because I want to start getting this water warm. This type of hot plate will get hot, but it takes a while to get there because this is like an iron or cast iron top. They take a while to heat up, but then when they get there, they're hot, and then when you turn them off, they take a long time to cool down as well. So I want to make a makeshift funnel. Out of rolling up this paper. And I want to use it to get some of this silica into the water. Interesting. I like to get it in there without spilling it all over the place. So some of my research on silica showed that it's supposed to be soluble in hot water, which is interesting. Because what I want to do is dissolve it and then mix it with my vitriol as the colorant. Let's see if this will work well to get it in there. Yep. All right, I want a high concentration. I want to super concentrate this. There is a tiny bit of little specks of something, like trash, but it should separate out in recrystallization. It should separate out. And they're already kind of separating because, and this is, part of alchemy. When things are mixed with water, we get separation. Heavier things go to the bottom, lighter things go to the top generally. Some things are soluble, some insoluble. They kind of separate. Okay, so hot plate is getting hot. Water is bubbling, so it's heating up. Let's see if we can share this to another Facebook page. I've got a Facebook page called Alchemy Symbols. It's got over 25,000 likes. So I'd like to get this on there. Okay, we got that. Okay, water's heating up. I was looking for something more handy to be able to reach in there and stir this with, but with the COVID-19 thing going on, I was going to get a set of chopsticks from the grocery store. They refuse to give out chopsticks because they can be touched, not completely wrapped, so they could theoretically spread germs. A chopstick would reach right in there, but they said unavailable. I do have this plastic knife. It does kind of reach in there a bit. I'm hoping this will start steaming because I want to reduce the water level and concentrate this. I may have too much water in there, but with heat, it'll come down. I've got an eyedropper bottle here. So I've got these two tinctures. One is iron pyrite tincture, and the other is vitriol from copper metal. So I did copper metal, clean copper metal, and poured nitric acid on it. After all this fuming and fizzing and spitting was done, I poured off the liquid, which is this. Okay, so now I'll use the eyedropper as the applicator. Get it in there. This is reacting at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but at the bottom down here, it's starting to pop and react with heat. I don't really want to boil this just yet with that much liquid because the liquid level is way up here. I'll turn it down a little bit and maybe simmer it a bit. All right. So this copper stuff seems to act as a dye. It's a little bit, it's got a scent to it. I can smell it. But it smells like water, but a powerful scent of water, like the scent of water magnified. Because normally You don't notice water putting off a smell, but this smells like water. Looks like water too, doesn't it? The color. You know what I find interesting? First of all, there's a salt in the cap. I don't know if you can see it. A blue salt, like a crystalline salt. What I find interesting about this is in alchemical images of the green lion devouring the sun, it shows the moon in the water, and the water is a specific color. It's not like light blue like water normally would be, but it's a very dark blue, like maybe cobalt, like this color. And that's a secret, isn't it? I think that means they're alluding to a secret here. So I've got some in the eyedropper, and I'm going to add it here. We'll add a little bit at a time and see how it affects the material. That's 2 drops. Okay, I've added 5 drops. Now I'm sure this copper vitriol tincture that I made from nitric acid and copper metal is probably toxic, so when I'm done with this experiment, I'm not going to use this eyedropper for anything else. I'll probably just throw it away because these are cheap. We have a local health food store that sells these, and they're not expensive. Five drops barely put any coloring in it. The basis of alchemy. Alchemy is a deep subject. That would kind of get us off track of this experiment with these chemical gemstones that I want to work on. But it's I'm not saying I don't want to delve into that subject. It's an interesting subject. The basis of alchemy. Alchemy is very old. The art of alchemy is very old. It predates the pyramids. It predates the Bible. In my opinion, the Bible is an alchemy book, and it's old. The pyramids are old, and alchemy is older than all of that. Alchemy goes back to the Garden of Eden and before. It's, in my opinion, it's the basis of all things. It's the predecessor to science, medicine, metallurgy, music, astrology, astronomy, everything. The basic of it, what is alchemy? It's ancient science and medicine. But this part here, this is in the mineral kingdom. This is not medicine. This is an experiment with alchemical gemstones. And I saw something earlier on YouTube. Somebody posted a video and promoted it, so it showed up in my feed. And it was about somebody digging up Herkimer diamonds, and it mentioned quartz, like they were quartz-based, which means silica. So how interesting would that be if diamonds could be made from silica? Some of the other gemstones are related to silica or quartz. And my research indicates that alchemists made glass with this stuff too. I find this interesting, so I want to start experiments with it. This silica gel looks pretty pure, but it's industrial grade from silica drying packets, silica gel drying packets. So there's, you know, little spots of something in here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little, it's like a little rock. I don't know where I put the flashlight. It's like a little tiny pebble. You know? No biggie. Yeah, it seems like a rock. It's hard, it doesn't crush. All right. I'm trying to heat up a little bit more. So I want this to simmer. It looks like it needs more coloring. All right, I'm not counting the drops anymore. But I'm adding some coloring. All right, now it's taking effect. The color is making a difference. All right, so my research on this material, I came up with the water of crystallization online, which you can research. There's crystals in here. In my vitriol, so I made the vitriol in the way I described. I took clean copper metal. I took copper wire and stripped off the insulation. So I had clean copper metal, and I added nitric acid. And after all the fuming and spitting was done, I poured off the liquid into these vials and had this beautiful cobalt blue colored liquid. After I let it sit for a short period of time, crystals developed in here. Some kind of crystalline material developed in here. This is solid. Watch me stick this dipper into it. All right, you see the dipper there? The eyedropper? That's as far as it goes. It's hitting solid, like crystalline mass material that formed in the liquid. So that caused me to research it, and I came up with something online about the crystal, or the water of crystallization. So that's interesting. So I'm going to take some liquid off the top and add it to this water with these silica gel packet beads. As this water cooks down and concentrates, the color should be more noticeable. I can see that in the camera. It's blue. This is the first time I've done this experiment, so next time I'll probably make some changes, like put less water in the glass. Because now after adding those drops, it's almost up to the top. As it comes down, I'd like to turn the heat up. All right, I'm looking at the questions and comments here. Cinnabar, I've never tried cinnabar yet. It is an interesting substance, although very toxic and dangerous. For which purpose cinnabar? Like I said, I haven't worked with cinnabar yet. Philosophy of the whole world. That is alchemy. Alchemy, yes. I'm going to turn up the heat a little bit more. I see a little reaction going. I see bubbles coming up, small, tiny bubbles. But I think I definitely put too much water in here. You know what I can do? I can dump some of the water out. See how hot this is. Getting warm. I'm going to dump some of the water out. That's what I'll do. Oh, you know what? Some of the impurities that I discussed floated to the top, so while we're here, I might just see about scooping them out. All right, got like 3 little chunks of something out of there. This water feels very salty, like it's got a high salt content. All right, this flask is kind of warm. I dumped out some water. Now we've got more room in the neck of the glass. Where did that flashlight go? Oh, there it is right there. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Now we can see it a little bit better. So as we concentrate this down, the color should improve. It should dramatize. Of course, as it comes down, we can also add more colorant. So my theory on nature's paintbrush is that the colors of nature come from the metals. I'm interested in trying to figure out how to do take a picture. I guess I just need to get a separate camera, maybe. I don't know if I could take a screenshot while I'm doing a live feed on YouTube. But I think this would make an interesting thumbnail image. I've got a friend that showed me how to take a screenshot from a YouTube video. So after this video is ended, I can probably do it from my cell phone. All I have to do is watch this video on my cell phone, and there's 2 buttons to press at the same time, and it's supposed to take a screenshot. So my theory is the silica pieces should dissolve in hot water, mingle with the colorant that I've got from the dissolving the copper metal in nitric acid, and mingle together, and then reformulate the silica crystals, hopefully with them being colored. And then there's a couple ways to proceed in the experiment. I can try it with basic crystal growing with the water. When it's concentrated, super concentrated, I can put it in the refrigerator, let it get cold and recrystallize. And then I want to try it in heat. Once I have the colored crystals formed, I want to apply heat and see how that affects them. That maybe will solidify them into a more permanent stone or crystals. All right, I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. It looks like it's starting to steam a bit. That's what we want. the water to start steaming away and super concentrating. But I don't want the water to bubble and splatter out of the glass. Steaming it's doing. Interesting. It looks like there's little salt crystals forming at the top, on the top rim, and outside the top rim even. That seems to happen a lot in alchemy experiments. Maybe we'll get crystals growing up here. That's what it looks like. Perhaps some of the material is volatilizing, you know, where it becomes volatile and can be distilled. Temperature is coming up a little bit still. Maybe just a little bit more heat. I may invest in another magnetic stir hot plate. But this is the first Alchemy Gemstone experiment video, really, so especially with live feed. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, I see a little more bubbling action, so that means the heat is coming up a bit. These silica crystals look pretty darn pure. The clarity is good. As some of my older research in the creation of alchemical gemstones, I came across with something that said salt in the sodium. Sodium in the crystals causes opaqueness, and that's not desirable. Sodium is not desirable in the silica or in gemstones. It makes them lower quality, worth less, opaque. It causes the opaqueness. So the crystalline clarity in gemstones is supposed to be much improved if there's no sodium, no salt. So by that I'm assuming sea salt, table salt, that kind of salt. I want to see some more reaction, so I think I'm going to raise the heat a bit. I'm raising the heat slowly by degrees. I don't want it boiling. I'm going to need to do a series of experiments on this once I get it down to dryness, or at least super saturated, super concentrated saline solution. But I'm also going to need to gradually raise the heat to get these silica crystals to dissolve. It's possible I should have put less of them, less silica at the first, but this is a learning experience, so we'll see what I get from this, and then uh, move forward with a series of alchemy gemstone experiments. I also want to make more vitriols from different metals because I want different colors to work with, and I want to another experiment I'm interested in. Somebody posted a comment on a YouTube video that I saw, and they said that if you mix two vitriols, it would create a stone, and they called it an aquamarine in their experiment. And I find that interesting. I kind of want to get some more liquid out of this copper vitriol here so I can get a better look at the crystals that are formed in there. One way I can do that is to put some of the liquid in here. Alright, the heat's coming up. This is starting to pop and ping again. It's reacting more, and it's starting to lift the whole mass of silica from the bottom of the glass. I may have it just a little bit too hot. Wow, this water of crystallization is crazy. It's crazy. You saw I had this thing tilted, right? It's recrystallized in the new shape at the top. It's like the oxygen is reacting with the vitriol and causing it to solidify into crystals. You see the angle? Look at that. It recrystallized. As I was removing water or liquid, some of the liquid appears to have crystallized and solidified. The shape at the top was flat before. So this apparently is reacting. It seems like it's reacting with the oxygen since I have the lid off. Interesting. It didn't evaporate that quickly. It solidified in the oxygen. There's a little bit of liquid left. See what happens if I start pouring it. This is interesting in the formation of crystals. Interesting. You can see it's retaining its shape at the top. It's crystallized. Let's see if I can get this closer to the camera. I want to put the top on it so I can hold it by the top. The pyrite tincture seems to be acting differently than the tincture from copper. And I'm thinking one of the reasons why is because could be because the copper vitriol I made was much more concentrated. I think you can see in the camera there's a white material at the bottom that has formed, and this liquid was filtered. I filtered this, so everything in here should be soluble. So I would think what we're looking at is perhaps an oil, a liquid, a salt, things of that nature being soluble. And that's what it looks like, diluted water, very highly diluted. It's the color of gold, but very much diluted. All right, we're getting some bubbling action. It's pinging and popping at the bottom a little bit still. Like the heat is repelling the silica. But I don't see any burning or damage. To the silica. I think it's going to be interesting to see how alchemists make glass from this type of stuff. I would think it involves dissolution in water, evaporation, and probably heat, perhaps melting it in heat. I'm interested to see how this stuff, once it's dry, reacts to the heat of like being baked and stuff. Alchemists had a furnace. If you read the writings of Paracelsus, he speaks about a reverberatory furnace, which is basically an oven wherein the heat is indirect. So right here, it's on the hot plate, the heat is direct. Reverberatory furnace, the heat would be indirect, heating up the air all around it, but not directly applying heat or flame to the glass. It is separating the impurities still, they come to the top. But there is very little impurity in here from what I see. Hello. It's my dog over there. She wants something. She probably wants to go for a walk. What's the matter, Belle? The blue vitriol looks really interesting from this angle. The color that I'm seeing is different. The lighting angle plays a part in it. From here, it's like tiny little crystals forming the overall mass, and the color is brilliant, like brilliant cobalt. And in the light, they glitter and shine and sparkle like a brilliant gemstone. I wonder if I can somehow get the lighting angle different so it shows up better in the camera. I kind of think I need a glass plate so I can try to dig some of this stuff out. I want to, in the future, I want to work on bringing this blue vitriol to complete dryness and try some dry path alchemy experiments with it. And I've got a secret oven that I don't think I've shown yet, and I'm going to dig it out and show it. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, so now this was a thrift store find. When I found this, I thought this would be the perfect secret oven. And you know what? When I found it at the thrift store, I bought it and I kept it in storage. And the one I had bought first accidentally broke, and I was not happy. But I went back to the thrift store and dug and dug and dug, and luckily they had a second one just like it. They only had two, and they didn't have any more. And I tried to find these on Amazon, but I couldn't find them. But I've been extra careful with this one, not to break it. So it's basically a glass vase, and originally it went like this, and they had a metal stand, and it was just some type of a vase. So I didn't need the metal stand. But the way this works, and this type of secret oven is very efficient. If you look at my other alchemy videos. So I paid $1.49 for this. It's still written on there. That's a good price. And the way this type of secret oven works is that I would go out in sunlight, find a good spot where it won't get disturbed and knocked over, like a table. And then I could take a container like this, remove the top, and then set this on the table, put the glass dome over it, and it would do a solar distillation with sunlight. And what it would do is just evaporate the water out of the subject that I'm working on. And this type of secret oven or solar oven is very efficient. Very, very efficient, and it keeps the bugs out, keeps the dirt out. It seems to just magnify the sunlight. So it brings the subject to dryness without burning it. We're getting some reaction here. The color is interesting. It looks like the silica at the bottom is trying to dissolve. It seems to be reacting with the heat. Like perhaps it may want to melt even. What's going on? The liquid is evaporating. I'm trying to concentrate this down to a super concentrated saline solution. I've added coloring material, which is my blue vitriol, liquid from my blue vitriol. What's happening? So I've got silica, water and silica in here. My plan is to dissolve the silica in hot water and add some liquid from my blue vitriol as the colorant. I want to dissolve these two things together, these three substances, water, silica, blue vitriol, dissolve them, mix, and then bring it back to dryness, and then continue my experiments towards Alchemy Gemstones. So I want to use the silica as the base of the stone, and I want to color it with the blue vitriol, and I want to try to make an alchemical gemstone. And once I get this down to a super concentrated saline solution, there's a series of experiments that I want to do. I want to try putting it in cold. Yes, solve and coagulate. The basic understanding of alchemy. But once I get it down to a super saturated solution, I want to try to, what will be the final gemstone? I don't know. This is new territory for me, but I'm thinking it's going to be blue. And it's going to be silica based. Who knows? It's going to be interesting though. But I want to experiment with this. When I get it down to a super saturated solution, I want to put it in the cold of the refrigerator and see what kind of crystallization I get. I want to do basic crystal drawing with it also. And I want to put it in heat. I'm thinking that with this material, heat is going to be the way to go. Because this material I've got seems to crystallize in oxygen. Just oxygen alone seems to bring it to a crystal. I see a little impurity has floated to the top, a little speck of something. I'll try to dig it out of there. So what kind of gemstones are blue? Aquamarines, sapphires? Is there a blue sapphire? Let me look it up. Where's my phone? All right. Let me Google it. All right, I'm searching blue gemstones. For some reason, the internet in my phone is not working well. I don't know why. Not working well at all. And it's not working. Well, that sucks. Even on my laptop, the Wi-Fi for some reason doesn't work well unless I plug it into the hard line. And this is something new. From Wi-Fi to cellular network. I'm just restarting the phone. Sometimes that'll make it work. All right, pinging and popping. I think it's this Wi-Fi network here. I think it's got something weird with it. Blue gemstones. Okay, the internet seems to be working. I searched blue gemstones. A lot of things came up. Okay, have you performed similar operations in the past? No, this is something new for me. This is something new. And it's always been interesting to me, alchemical gemstones. What are all of the blue gemstones? The most common blue stone is a sapphire. However, the deep blue color can also be found in other gemstones, such as, and this is spelled with a K, Kyanite, kyanite, lapis lazuli, and zircon. There are also much lighter or softer blue stones, with the most common of the lighter stones being topaz and aquamarine. Lapis lazuli, the name means blue stone. Lapis lazuli is a dark blue microcrystalline rock that often sparkles with golden pyrite inclusions. This stunning gem is reminiscent of the stars in the midnight sky. The most common blue stone is a sapphire. Here we got pictures. Some of my research I did on silica-based gemstones pulled up amethyst. All right. I'm going to do another search. Silica-based gemstones. Or silica, how about silica glass? No, so here's silica in gemstones. Let's take this one. Silica in gemstones. Gem silica is a bluish green to greenish blue variety of chalcedony that receives its vivid color from the presence of copper. It is often known as chrysocolla chalcedony or gem silica chrysocolla. Gem silica is the most valuable variety of chalcedony, with quality cut gemstones selling for over $100 per carat. How do you identify silica gemstones? Luster, vitreous, subvitreous, resinous. Transparency, translucent. Comment takes a high polish. Color medium blue, occasionally with a tinge of green from other minerals. Streak white. Hardness 5.5 to 6.5 on Mohs scale. Tenacity brittle. Gemstone silica. Gem silica is the trade name for a rare gemstone with a vivid greenish blue hue, also known as gem chrysocolla. There's pictures. Have you looked at the Quran Saran or Raman? Our Raman? It has some alchemical themes about creationism. No, I haven't, but I wanted to. It's been on my mind. It's an interesting subject. Right, John Braun, including malachite, azurite, turquoise, chrysocolla, larimar, and Oregon sunstone. It would be misleading to think that a gemstone is valuable simply because it is copper-bearing. That's true. I was just reading what I found in search results. I don't know what this is going to make yet. This is a new territory for me. It's something I've been interested in for a long time. Yes, Kim, I am intrigued. Oh, that's interesting. Surah means verse. That is interesting. So, as I said, I was reading the search results, not forming my own conclusions, just reading what was posted online, researching. So it's steaming pretty good now. I can see the steam wafting at the top. Thank you, John, and thank you for your input too. It's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what this can make. This is silica and my blue vitriol that I made from copper and nitric acid and water. I'm trying to dissolve everything together, recrystallize, and then go from there. This vitriol stuff that I made is very interesting. The fact that it seems to just crystallize by the mere presence of oxygen. It seems to react with oxygen to make the water the liquid just crystallize. This one over here, you can see the separation. The top is sealed. Most of it's crystallized, and a little bit at the top is liquid. This one appeared to be crystallizing as I was trying to remove some liquid from it. As you can see, the shape of the top changed. It solidified that way. It crystallized while I was trying to remove liquid with the eyedropper to color this. What are my conclusions? This is the first of a series of experiments, so I don't know that it's time to form a conclusion yet. Do I think this is how natural crystals are formed? I'm doing an investigation into nature and trying to determine that. I think I'm onto something here, and I think as I further progress with this, once I get everything mingled well, I think heat is going to be the key. Just guessing. I'm thinking heat, and I'm thinking nature. You know, lava flows, volcanoes erupt, things form in heat. I'm thinking that heat is going to play an important role. Right now, it's dissolution, solve and coagulate, solve it, coagula, dissolve and coagulate. That's where we're at right now. And what I'm trying to do is get into the formation of alchemical gemstones. Supposedly, alchemists make glass. That's going to be interesting too. Alchemical gemstones, I think, are exciting. So I'm trying to dissolve the silica and add the color from this. Mix the two together and color the silica. And then I want to take the silica. I've got to get it to dissolve. I may need to get a magnetic stir hot plate. I've got to get it to dissolve crystal growing, but this stuff seems to just crystallize. It just seems to crystallize. There may not be time to do basic crystal growing, doing imbibitions on something. It seems like it just crystallizes when it hits the oxygen. Poof, crystallized. So I'm thinking heat then. Perhaps it'll melt and flow in heat, or light to bring it to room temperature. Glass of antimony. I have not yet worked with antimony. I don't know that I would call this, well, glass of antimony. I did make a video about Basil Valentine chariot of antimony, but I think, in alchemy is mostly metaphors and riddles and code names. So my interpretation of Basil Valentine's chariot of antimony is that he was probably using code words and doing things a little bit different than what he was actually saying. And that this is my opinion. I think it led people astray. I know that some alchemists do work with antimony and glass of antimony, but my video, Basil Valentine chariot of antimony, involved this material right here. Which I made with copper, metal, and nitric acid. Okay, the color seems like it's becoming just a little bit more deep as this stuff vapors slightly, ever so slightly. I turned up the heat just a little bit. It looks to me like the silica is starting to take the color. Yeah, still a little bit too much liquid in there. I can see it vaporing away at the top. I don't know if that's showing up in the video. Looks like my flashlight needs new batteries. If I turn the light out. Toxic, I would say, this was made with copper metal and nitric acid. I would say that it's probably toxic, yes. Probably. This is not medicine. No, I'm trying to experiment with alchemical gemstones. Not medicine. Let me turn out another light and see how we can get a better look at this. All right, hang on. Another light to turn out. Now we can see it a bit better. Looks like it's going to need to simmer for a while. I believe this is my first live stream I've ever done on YouTube. I don't remember doing one before. So I don't know how long I should run the live stream. This is kind of new territory. But it's going to need a series of experiments to really get somewhere with this. Okay, Kim, that sounds interesting. What kind of game are you making? Thank you. I do want to keep doing live streams. Somebody told me a couple years ago to get into live streams. The making of a game sounds interesting. Maybe you could make an alchemy video game with Steven School alchemist running around as the action figure, one of the action figures, and a Kim North action figure. Alchemical themes. That sounds interesting. I'm going to look at that. It's an action adventure game with portals and stealth and action. That sounds exciting. It's vaporing away pretty good. Alchemy, it seems like it takes a lot of patience, in my opinion. Some people get frustrated with it. I hear you. It sounds like it's a good representation. Dedicated alchemical game. Maybe we can bounce ideas off each other for that. That sounds like interesting. Yes, that sounds exciting. An alchemy video game, I think, would probably be very popular. And it would probably go big on YouTube. Somebody was asking me about the Book of Three Words. They seemed like they were frustrated. I could go grab it real quick and do a book review. I don't want to show anything inside the book. It's not my book. It's somebody else's book, and it's copyrighted. I think it's like copyright 2008 or something like that. But it's a book I found at a thrift store, and it just had some interesting notation about alchemy in it that really piqued my interest. The three words of creationism. Basically, when I first started studying alchemy or researching it online in 2008, I found a reference about some alchemist in the previous century performing public experiments where he supposedly was turning iron nails into silver, and supposedly he said he had a liquid and a dry material that he gathered somewhere out in the mountains. Uh, and anyway, this book that I found at the thrift store had a alchemy reference into it that hit right on that subject, and it piqued my interest also because the three substances it mentioned, one of them um, has come up in my alchemy research before, which was copper. I noticed a long time ago I was researching alchemy online, and I came across something that said something about copper, the gold of the alchemists, and it was interesting, very interesting to me. So this is splashing out a little bit. Probably not a big deal. The book is out in my car. I guess I should maybe do a review on it. Okay, I'm gonna turn it down a bit because it's splattering out. And all I want to do is vapor away. Vapor away. For now, anyway, because I want the liquid level to come down before I turn up the heat and get it really hot. I guess maybe I need a bigger container. Maybe I should get a jumbo-sized flask so I can turn up the heat really good without it splashing out. How long have I been doing this for? I started, I really took my interest in alchemy in 2008. Years before that in high school, I went into the high school library and I saw a poem on display about alchemy, and I forgot what it said after all these years, but it said something about it is a stone and yet no stone. And I remember it mentioned the color white, something about like wax. Um, and that poem stuck with me for years, and I kind of wondered, um, off and on, I'd look at the ground and wonder what kind of minerals are in there that could be the philosopher's stone, that would be the secret to turning lead into gold and fix all my monetary problems and make me rich and everything. But then I kind of forgot about it. Years went by and I forgot the poem. I had it memorized for a long time. Wax, white, moon, stone. Okay, so anyway, in 2008, I was bored. I was sitting at my computer in San Jose, California, and I got bored. And I was like, what do I want to do? I'm bored with video games. I'm off work for the day. There's nothing comes to mind. I don't want to watch TV. I'm bored. I want something to do. And then alchemy popped in my mind. So I started researching it online, and it just intrigued me. And I got interested in it, and I ordered some glass flasks and some lemon balm and a magnetic stir hot plate, and I just started experimenting with it and researching it. The more I got into it, the more I got interested. Red equals philosopher's stone. That's what they say when material gets to redness. So I took the really big interest in alchemy in 2008 when I actually started getting into it, digging into it, getting serious about it. And my first experiments were with lemon balm, Melissa officinalis, Spagyrix plant alchemy. This is a complete different realm. I think this live feed has been going for an hour and 20 minutes. I think what I'm going to do is cut it off and take my dog for a walk. She's kind of making noises over there. And then this is going to be a series. Thank you for watching. This is Alchemy of Stephen School. Okay, have a nice day. I hope to chat with you again. Subscribe for updates, please. You're welcome. Have a good day. I'm going to do it frequently. If you subscribe and tap the bell to get notified of new videos, I will come back to this. Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Ciao.